Good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up those football gods. Wake up there, guys. I hope everybody's having a great Sunday morning. Don't forget today, 5 o'clock Eastern, we will be doing our Zoom in call. If you are a channel member, you can call in. I'll post the link in the community tab. Everybody who is a channel member, you can get the link on the community tab and join in and be part of the conversation as we break down what we saw here at training camp, the outlook, how you guys are feeling, and anything else that you've got on your mind as we skyrocket towards the NFL season. And take a good look down here, guys. 32 days. 9 hours, 37 minutes from now, we have kickoff of the 2022 season. Guys, that's a month away. That's it. 1 month from today. Wow. Well, 1 month and a day. But 9 hours will be 31 days, which technically is a month, okay? Not the short months, but it's, you know what I mean. We are coming fast to the season, so thank God it is rolling on down the train tracks. Also, too, I'm thinking about the first hour doing our regular Zoom call and leaving you guys on the chat, but re-air the Eagles versus the Cowboys live stream. Yeah, that live stream. Because Philly 500 has been running his mouth, saying that he trusts Jalen Hurts more than Dak Prescott. I think it's kind of comical, to be honest with you. But what do I know? I'm just a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. And in fact, I tell you what, let's have a little fun here, because shout out to Soup Nazi for resharing it. I will tell you that if you like this,
throws, pick, horrible pass.
Oh my God.
Stupid throw! Son of a bitch! What a bad throw! Stupid throw! Hurts to pass.
one more time.
Throws, pick, horrible pass.
Oh my God.
Stupid throw! Son of a bitch! What a bad throw! Stupid throw!
Yeah, if you like that, trust me, that whole game was full of that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, I mean, it is 4 hours. I don't know if you guys want to sit around that long, but you know what? You can get your popcorn ready. And this will be a great way to start getting ready for the season, because, next week, Saturday, we play our first preseason game. Sundays will be games. So there'll be games and stuff going on. And it'll be a great way to kind of get this thing started. So anyway, here we are. We're in the middle of training camp, and I've got all kinds of thoughts and stuff since coming back from Oxnard. No matter what happens to the Cowboys, they've always made the wrong move, of course, by the talking heads, that we should be out there trying to sign Odell Beckham, that we don't have an experienced wide receiver core. And here's the funny thing. Okay, I'm going to ask a crazy question. I actually asked this last night in my fireside chat. But right now we're told that Zeke Elliott's done, right? That the offensive line is trash because we lost Lyle Collins and Connor Williams, right? That losing Amari Cooper, the only reason why Dak Prescott is still an NFL quarterback was because of Amari Cooper. And they say we have no experienced wide receivers. We only have CeeDee Lamb, who they say is really not a number one. And we don't have a wide receiver who has an NFL touchdown. So hypothetically, if Dak Prescott repeats at least what he did last year, 4,400 yards and 37 TDs and like 10 interceptions, do we look and still say Dak sucks and that it's only because of the team around him? I'm just curious on that one, because I guess we're going to find out. Because the amazing thing is, I'll go into that stuff later. I'll go into that later. Actually, what I want to talk about is our new piece on the Dallas Cowboys. And see, from what I observed in training camp and seeing a lot of the stuff that the Cowboys were doing, some of the workouts, the group workouts and things, the Cowboys were doing a lot of work with a 3-4 defense, okay? Now, let me explain a 3-4 versus a 4-3. A 3-4 defense is 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. And in your mind, you're saying, well, we're kind of short on linebackers. True. But understand that what you're looking at is your outside linebackers are really kind of like a tweener. And tweener, that means you're kind of between two positions. An outside linebacker is really a defensive end who from time to time might have to do a little drop in a little coverage, cover the flats and things like that, okay? But more than anything else, they are a 2-point stance edge rusher. They're going after the quarterback. Their job is to set the edge, make sure nothing gets past it, and put pressure on the quarterback. And then you have 3 down defensive linemen. And typically, your down defensive linemen are really big players. Your 3-4 defensive linemen are bigger usually than your 4-3 defensive linemen. And it's predicated on a nose tackle. And it still bothers me they call it a nose tackle. It's really a nose guard, okay? At least back in my day. That means you have a man who's lined up on the center, and usually that is your biggest defensive lineman. Lo and behold, the last 2 years, the Dallas Cowboys have really got that one technique, nose guard. And Quentin Bohannon, who has slimmed down and does not look sloppy, he's still one of the fat boys are back, but he definitely can get a push. And then we've got my man, John Ridgeway. And I'm going to talk about John Ridgeway. Shout out to my man, Cowboys VA, for getting me this jersey. Again, another aggressive big guy in the middle. Then you want to have big guys as your tackles, which line up traditionally on the defensive tackle. Sometimes they'll shade a little on the inside between the guard and the tackle gap. But they're usually big guys too, and you're not just big guys, but guys that can also have some speed. If you can get big and fast, you are ahead of the game. And that's where we have, Tristan Hill, if he makes the roster, and I think he will. And also, I would say Osi Ndigazua, Carlos Watkins, and, of course, Neville Gallimore. These guys are big, but they also can move well. So you've got those 3 down defensive linemen, which are great because you've got an extra lineman there to take care of stopping the run, which has been our Achilles heel. Now, your outside edge rushers, D-Law, you've got Sam Williams, you've got, of course, Dorrance Armstrong, you've got, who am I missing? Basham. You now also can use Micah Parsons, and you can also use Anthony Barr. See, what you're able to do with this is you've got a big push in the middle, and then you have faster guys that can get the edge. And that keeps the quarterback, one, from having a clear vision of the field, okay? What you're ideally looking for is that guy like John Ridgeway to be like an eclipse, that he's blocking out the downfield, okay? They get that push, they get their big paws up in the air, so now the quarterback's having to look around. Which way do I go? I've got to look around. Where's my receivers? As we've seen in the past of the Cowboys, where we've always gone through, our defensive ends are great, but we're soft in the middle, and the quarterback steps up. And when a quarterback can step up in the pocket, everything's washed past him. Now I'm unmolested. I can kind of work my way to the receiver, and I can see better that guy breaking, and it's an easier pass. See, Tom Brady is one of those guys, for example, does not like pressure in his face. He doesn't mind it on the outside. He would like to step up, and he's deadly with it. So this is the difference of it. Now, your inside linebackers, you have a weak side and a strong side, okay? Strong side being the side that there's more people from the center of the ball. You've got typically a tight end on it. That's the strong side. The weak side is the side that has lesser guys on there. So now you have two traditional linebackers that are there. If your defensive front line can handle the offensive line and keep the guards from being able to get to the second level, that leaves your linebackers there to roam, to scrape, to fill the holes and make the tackles, to go drop in coverage, to blitz. This seems to be where the Cowboys are headed to more. Now, Dan Quinn wants to have a defense that's versatile, that he can put in different packages for different matchups and things. And to give our defensive coordinator the year before, Mike Nolan, some credit. This was originally the design that he wanted to have and implement. He wanted to be a hybrid defense. He said it. We want to be a 3-4-4-3 that ends up being able to match up. The problem for him was he didn't have the personnel for it or the mentality for it. When you had Xavier Woods, who was anything but wood, he was more like soft wood, okay? He was like a lead blocker for running backs. When you had Jalen Smith, who was better at pursuit and is not a linebacker that you can really go playing downhill, and you didn't have the big defensive lineman, because like Neville Gallimore was a rookie, they tried, and getting the Dontari Poes and the Emerson Griffins and the Gerald McCoys, but they were over the hill. This is the vision that they originally wanted 2 years ago. And now they have the player personnel to do it. And not only to do it, now they have depth on the defense. I wish we had this kind of depth on the offense. The hard part is going to be is some of these guys are going to be let go. So how does Anthony Barr fit in? Anthony Barr is a veteran, and believe it or not, he's kind of like Micah Parsons was before Micah Parsons came through. He is that guy who is a pass rushing outside type linebacker. He can play middle, he can play outside, he can play multiple things. He's had a knee history of injury, and they'll probably be bringing him along kind of slowly. We're not looking at him to have to start every single play. He'll be used in certain packages, certain situations and things, and is an insurance policy, because ultimately you're only as good as your backups. You're going to use other guys on the roster. That is a fact. And that is one of those things that seem to have escaped the Dallas Cowboys when we look at offensive line. We never have a plan that is a solid plan for Tyron Smith. But we're going to talk about the offense later. But we're going to go to NFL Network Inside Training Camp for some notes on Anthony Barr.
And we celebrate football in general. With the Cowboys, they're celebrating their new linebacker, Anthony Barr, on the field. You know, signing autographs. He took number 51 because he said there's not many other numbers left at this point. Here's head coach Mike McCarthy.
Is there a reason why you signed Barr now instead of a 2 weeks ago?
Well, I mean, just like anything in this league, there's a business component to it, so that's really, I mean, that's a realm that I'm not really directly involved in. But the interest was always there. I think the interest was clearly always there on both sides. And you know, personally, I have a chance to compete against Anthony for a number of years. Just have great respect for his game, and just thrilled to have him here, be part of our football team.
Let's get out to Oxnard, California right now, where we have Kayla Burton standing by. And Kayla, they have to be so excited about the new addition of Anthony Barr.
Yeah, guys, 100%. I mean, for starters, let me just paint the picture here for you. There are about 4,500 fans here. This place is packed, and this is the energy that they needed all week. And as you mentioned, Colleen, having Anthony Barr here just creates even more excitement. And there's a couple reasons why, obviously, he is here with the Cowboys. I mean, he is reunited with his former defensive coordinator, coach, of 6 years on the Vikings. George Edwards, who's now the defensive assistant here on the Cowboys. He says, obviously, that was a big part of me coming here, but it's also because of this team. He says, quote, I think Dallas is a contender. I want to be on a team that has a chance to win. Now, he is right now on the PUP list, but it's more so for ramp-up mode. It's not because of any injuries. We know this is a player who has dealt with plenty of injuries in his tenure. I mean, he missed 22 games in his past 3 seasons, but he's ready to go. He says, if anything, this is more mentally just getting acclimated. He didn't take too much of a drive going from LA, where he was at, all the way here to Oxnard. He's signing autographs, as you just saw, and he's ready to rock here with the Cowboys.
Yes.
I love that short commute from LA to Oxnard for Anthony Barr. Tom, what does he add to this defense?
First of all, Anthony Barr is one of the great locker room guys. He's a culture guy. He was always one of the most popular players with the Minnesota Vikings. So you add that. He's a off-the-ball linebacker with pass rush ability, which kind of sounds like the superstar on the Cowboys defense, Micah Parsons, too. Now, Barr's older in his career. He's had a knee that he's been managing for quite some time right now. I would fully anticipate they'll be really careful in terms of managing him going forward. He's probably not going to play 70 snaps at this point in his career, but the Cowboys don't need him to. It's another veteran piece, a guy with some savvy who's going to add something to this defense, albeit most likely in a limited role.
Well, Tom, I hope that the Cowboys utilize him as that defensive end or third down pass rusher. I mean, again, that's what he came in as coming from UCLA. He was a 3-4 outside linebacker. He goes to the Vikings. They put him off the ball. He's athletic enough to do that, but he thrives rushing the passer. He did a great job there. And I think if you put him and Micah Parsons there, you have other guys you can rotate around. Now, all of a sudden, you're creating pass rush to help corners and your safeties and other linebackers you have there. So, I mean, the more versatile your linebackers can be, the better your defense will be, especially in that cover 3 system that Dan Quinn loves to do.
Yeah, and guys, Dan Quinn, including head coach Mike McCarthy, both said that we want to be able to be a multiple defensive team. We want to be able to have multiple packages. It's a long year. They want to be able to use both Micah Parsons as well as Barr. And I think the greatest thing that they made clear is that Micah, at least what Dan Quinn said, he said that he needs to be on the line of scrimmage, going after the football.
That's right.
It's even funny because Quinn admitted that when Micah Parsons first got here with the Cowboys, he didn't think he was going to be a pass rusher. He thought that he would play more off the ball, but right now, adding a guy with experience, he's the oldest one here in this linebackers group. As you mentioned, Tom, there's going to be a lot of versatility between those two.
Kayla, this defense trying to take that next step, very opportunistic last year, and now adding Anthony Barr to the mix. Kayla Burton live in Oxnard, California. Thank you, Kayla. We'll get back out there.
All right, so I want to go through, and you know what? You guys know that if nothing else, I am a creature of habit, okay? And I am going to go back to when Dan Quinn was first hired by the Dallas Cowboys, and people were saying, why do we hire this bum? Did you see Atlanta? Atlanta gave up more big leagues than anything else. What a joke. What a joke. This guy is a nobody. And I said, you know, from where I'm sitting, watching my team for the last 20-some plus years, he took Atlanta to the Super Bowl and was going toe-for-toe against Tom Brady, and just if it weren't for a couple of bad plays, he'd have a ring. And I dare say that's a lot farther than any of the coaches we've had since Barry Switzer. Just saying. And I will say that his defense in Seattle, and people will say that, oh, well, the Cowboys' defense was predicated on getting takeaways. You're not going to get all those takeaways. Well, Seattle's defense was number 1 in points and scoring defense, in yardage and takeaways back-to-back years, and remained very, very good for about 5 years. And it wasn't all first-round draft picks. Some of those guys were later-round draft picks. But after the Super Bowl, where they destroyed Peyton Manning, this was Dan Quinn's observation of what his team was. Now, I want you to listen to that, and then I want you to close your eyes and think about what the Dallas Cowboys defense is being built as now.
whatever conditions were to come up tonight, we really, one of the main things we want to do is just play at our style. And we did that tonight. That was one of the things going in all year long. We're fast, we're physical, and we have a real style about how we play. I thought that came out tonight.
Coach,
I certainly hope so. Couldn't be more proud to be part of that unit that plays, with an aggressive style. We talked about out-hitting people in terms of how we want to affect the quarterback and even checking the ball down the way we want to tackle. We want to win with fundamentals, and our guys work really hard in that fashion. It's something that our coaching staff and the players, we talk tackling, we talk turnovers really every day that we practice, and that's what came through tonight.
What do you get, JoJo?
Well, we certainly have so much respect for their offense the way it did. So I was not surprised that we played well. We've had terrific weeks of practice and preparation. So going into it, we were healthy and really felt like we were going to play fast and physical. We prepared for no huddle for 2 weeks. And if you give those group of guys 2 weeks to prepare, the coaches and those players, I think you're going to like the results.
What did you tell your players after the game, coach?
Really just how proud I was to be part of the unit, and the thing that I was most impressed about is that we really played in a style and fashion that we're accustomed to. We're fast, we're physical, and we played this game on our terms, and that was one of the things we went into the game saying, and for us to go and play it in that way, and have it come true in that way, it was awesome.
Where do the Seahawks rank the all-time greatest defenses?
I'll let you guys decide that. I couldn't be more fired up to be part of our unit and the attitude and the way that we play, so I'll leave that to you guys. Coach Carroll has been he's been huge for my career. I think just how to feature the players, and let's find what a player can do well, and let's accent that. And that would be one of the many things that he's taught me.
What did that first front?
Did you anticipate it would be that one-sided? It looked like it was dominating their offense.
I don't know about that, but I certainly know our guys know how to rush, and that was one of the things we knew when you face a quarterback like him, you better be able to affect him. We didn't talk about sacks or hits. We talked about can we get him off the spot. And we knew in certain coverages there was going to be times when he got the ball out and under 2.2, 2.3, which is hard for a rusher. We know sometimes it can be, if it's at 2.6 or 2.7, that's when you can get the hit. So we knew they'd have to deal with us, in terms of, I was fired up for Clem and what he was able to do, and Cliff and Michael have been doing that for a while. So it was just another example of how, we have a really deep front, and some games you have to play real hard ball. It's going to be a running team, and then there's games like tonight where it's going to be more featured pass rush.
What did that several times? Peyton Manning several times audibled into a run. Like Bobby Wagner was nodding. He came back and made a signal. Did you guys know any of the calls, any of the signals?
We did not. In fact, some of our calls, we just wanted to have some fun, and we made up some calls just so we'd be able to do some too.
Find what a player does well and accentuate it. And see, that's where you now see the evolution of Micah Parsons. They didn't envision him as being an edge rusher, but they found out how good he was at the edge, and they want to get him more closer to the line. And that's the reason you bring in Anthony Barr. He can be that extra linebacker. So Jarrell Cox, who is nursing the knee a little bit, is, you don't know how much you have with him just yet. So you have a veteran, again, be it with a bad knee too, things. It's not that the reason he's on the PUP list is not because he's injured. They want to get him condition-wise up to speed, bring him along slowly so that way they don't have a setback with him. But I'm excited. But I think you are going to see a very fast, very aggressive, a very physical defense that will be predicated on making sure they have fundamentals, that they know how to tackle, they know pursuit angles, that, everybody's going to give up some plays. But do you give up an 8-yard play that turns in going to the house like we did in 2020, or do you just make an 8-yard play just an 8-yard play? And that's the difference between winning and losing. And for the first time, you look and say that we have a defense that will be comparable to our offense. I haven't looked at it yet, but I want to actually look and go through the years and see the difference, because we've always had probably a top 10 offense almost every year that we've had our starting quarterback. If Romo or Dak has been playing, we've had a top 10 offense, which should have been good enough to win Super Bowls. The problem has been we have not had the defense to go along with it that complements the offense. And I think right now We've got that. And if the offense starts out slow, this may be the defense's chance to be the big brother as opposed to the redheaded stepchild. I'm Mark Holmes, and I've kind of been long-winded with this morning's report, but it's just so nice to be back here, I found my coffee mug here, to have actually got a good night's sleep in my own bed as opposed to on JetBlue's uncomfortable-ass chairs, and be here and look forward to, in about 6 hours, having our live stream. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys. You know how we roll.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the JetBlue Sports Report.